Honestly, I feel like I'm in denial sometimes and I can't accept some of the things that I've done. There is one thing that, I tried talking to a therapist about before, something that I had to do for a scene that was really rough for me. Basically, this guy had a bowl and he like gagged me until I threw up into it. And then he like pissed in the bowl. And during the scene, he asked me to drink it. And I didn't know how to say no. It was one of the most disgusting, foul scenes I ever had to do. And I'm telling a therapist this, and they don't even fucking know what to say to me.
Yeah.
No one can relate. Like, no one fucking knows what to say about it.
And so when it obviously I don't know how like porn is shot. They don't tell you beforehand. Did they tell this guy to do these things, or did he just
My
in his own
agent,
brain
this one, my agent
decide?
was actually very pissed about.
Okay.
And again, like, I'm not saying that I was raped.
Yeah.
I
But you were put in a
I
spot. You were put
I
yeah,
told
pressure.
this guy like, "Yeah, I'm excited. Let's do this." I didn't know how to say no.
Yeah.
I just wanted everyone to be happy. So I can't blame anyone. All that I can do now is make the best of my
Yeah.
experiences
Yeah.
and accept it, which is really hard for me to do. Um Sorry, what was your question again?
I mean, no, like I think you pretty much answered my question, but no, I was just gonna, chime in and say about how.
Well, first of all, I'm a little late to the party here. Lana is probably one of the most popular porn stars that's ever existed, from what I can understand. A friend of mine sent me this video. It's a little bit older, so like I said, I'm a little late to the party. I think it's about 3 years old. Lana went on this podcast and she's talking about her experiences in this one particular scene that's pretty grotesque to say the least. Um, you know, I'll start with this. It's sad. It's sad to see this, um, but it's not sad because we all have choices, right? Every single choice has a consequence, whether that be good or bad, or right, wrong, or indifferent. Every single choice that we make has a consequence of some sort. And when she got into this, maybe she wasn't thinking she was going to go that far, and maybe it wasn't going to be this grotesque. But I think most of the problem is you'll get women like these two that are on the podcast with her, and they're totally, it's all, you were a victim, and she, I got to give Lana credit because she is absolutely taking 100% accountability. She literally said, "I have to make the best of this," and the other girl was kind of veering towards, well, you were on the spot and they put pressure on you, and while that might be true, she signed the contract. She made the decision to do that with her life. Now, it might sound cold, it might sound like I don't care, but the point is, we live in a world, we live in a country, we live in a society where women have all the rights to do whatever the hell they want to do. And yet, there's all this push for them to get into STEM and all this and make more money. And, yet we still choose to sexualize ourselves. And one of the girls on this podcast is talking about how she doesn't like how women are seen as sex objects um, from porn. Basically, she's alluding to porn making young boys think that women are just sex objects. If women didn't sexualize themselves, that wouldn't be the case. It's it's not a I'm not saying that the people who are making these films, obviously they're in they're just as much wrong, or they have just as much to blame. They are just as much to blame as the women are. But it always takes the woman saying yes. That's how this works. That's why these contracts that these girls have to sign are the legalities of these contracts go very deep because they can't take the chance of somebody coming back afterwards saying, "Oh, well, that's not what I wanted to do." Well, yeah, it is because you signed the contract. So anyway, the long and the short of it is, I don't really know much about Lana Rhoades. She obviously is still very beautiful. Um, the exterior is very beautiful. There's definitely some demons she's dealing with on the inside, as she has said. But I think the overall takeaway from this is I, I don't even, I can't really say anything bad about her. I have nothing but respect, honestly, because she owned it. She 100% owned what she did. And like I said, that is very rare in this world. So, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and give Lana a W on this one because all that stuff that she did in the past, and yes, she's gonna have to deal with that for the rest of her life. But at least she owns it. At least she accepts it, and she understands that she made that decision. If you want to go through your life in denial and playing victim, that's a whole different approach. And she's obviously not doing that. So honestly, you can't do anything but respect the girl for taking accountability. That is very rare in this world. For her generation, and especially females in our culture, accountability it's like kryptonite. So respect on that. Now, as far as apparently she's got a child now, um, I don't know who the hell wiped her up, but yeah, okay. All that aside, it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of challenges for her child as the child grows up because that stuff is the internet's there forever. It doesn't forget. So the kids that your child goes to school with, they're gonna dig in. And I only know this from experience. And back when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, my mom did a lingerie campaign, and it wasn't anything big like Victoria's Secret, but it was similar to Victoria's Secret. And somehow these fucking kids came across my mom's campaign. Somehow these kids found that magazine that has my mom in it, and they brought it to school. I think I was my first grade. Oh, slow, I held back first grade, so I think it was first grade. And these kids found this magazine with my mom in it, and it was I flunked that year. I got held back in that first grade. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but it played a part. It played a major part. And these kids, um, I wanted to die. When they brought that and showed my mom to everybody in lingerie, which is not even nearly as bad as this, obviously, but for a kid, it was a young boy. It was tough. And I got held back that year for um, a lot of reasons, but I think that was one of the main reasons. My growth was really stunted, and I felt very humiliated and isolated and alone, embarrassed. I mean, you name it. So I can only imagine what Lana's children are going to have to deal with, and that's a sad thing. Kids are harsh. Kids are harsh, and it's part of life. We got to go through it, and there's always going to be bullies and whatnot. But you know, I hope nothing but the best for her. I'll still give her a W. She gets a win on this one because she took accountability. But every choice we make in life has a consequence, and the consequences of that choice, those choices that she made when she was young doing these films, I would predict that it's going to continue to haunt her for the rest of her life. So, Lana, you get a W still. You still look great. Keep your head up. Be positive, and you'll find a simp who will continue to give you what you want: marriage, kids, and whatever else. There's always going to be a simp. There's simps galore in this world. So that's it.